final garment piece to make things come together is the bodice. This bodice was a tricky feat of making and engineering. The style was first taken from a 1901-02 dress and then modified to fit the fashion plate. This was then scrapped as it did not look good, and I was on to draping my own. Most dresses of this style for closures were closed down center back that I had found, or they had a side front closure from the ones in Patterns of Fashion 2. I decided to go with the center back closure as that's what I had seen in the book and also what I was following that Sarah Nicole had sent me from the Symington collection. The pictures that you see now are the making of the first bodice. That is right, as a new one needed to be made, and I had to scrap the original one and cut into my skirt drape fabric of that same golden silk to account for this loss. In the second one, it was made the same way, just slightly different. Boning channels were made to keep the structure in front and the sides like usual. Hook and eye closures finished it off at the back, and it was done. Here's how the process sort of went when running into this problem of having to make a new bodice.
So I did not take into account that the bust bodice was not big enough, so I now have to let out the bodice. Not that big of a deal. I can just take off the side boning channels, open this up, put in another panel that's 1 inch wide on each side, so it adds 2 inches altogether, and then sew that up, and then, it'll close properly. So not the greatest thing in the world, but it is what it is. I just need to do it now. So I also have to make another hip pad. I'm not going to do the tufting on the second one. I'm just going to make it, we're going to make another one. That's what we're going to do. We're going to make another one of these just so it gives the right shape in the back, because I added stuff on the sides and it looks really weird on the sides. So what we're going to do is just make it so that way it's 2 of these that sit on the back and give the right hip circumference all the way around, but all the fullness is going to be towards the back. Slight problem. We have a massive problem. And the massive problem is this bodice, whilst it is constructed in a very nice, pleasing manner, I have done a horrible blunder in making these sleeve holes bigger. I have cut away too much, making it come way too far forward, meaning that when I put this on, it does something horrible. I will show you what it's doing. So this is without the bust bodice. Here's the seam, and here's where it really should be. Like, this is my underarm and it's full forward. There's nothing really I can do. So this is where it wants to come on both sides, and it's coming right here at this divot, and it should be sitting more like a true sleeve that sits right at the edge of the elbow and comes in and is a proper arm's eye.
After realizing my egregious mistake, it was back to campus to fix the pattern and make some adjustments. Here you can see that the toile I made is fitting much better over the bust bodice, and my friend in the back agrees. After figuring out the necessary steps to fix the problem, I made the new bodice. The sleeves were put in properly this time and finished off how the extant garment that Sarah Nicole had sent me, as well as what it looked like in the Janet Arnold Patterns of Fashion 2 book. The sleeves were clipped and left raw, but felled over to prevent excess fraying in the arm's eye.
This is where we're at with the bodice. I am in the middle of finishing off the closure in the back. So I took it to campus this morning with the bust bodice and put this over it just so I could mark where I needed to have the fold over. So I marked it with a heat transfer pen because I didn't have a regular pencil or chalk. Marked it with a line of stitching, folded it over, and then felled it down on both sides. And now I'm going to be sewing on many, many hooks and eyes. This side got a little bit wonky because the thread kind of did something weird, but this is what they're going to look like. If it'll focus. It's kind of like doing a blanket stitch, but around a eyelet, so it finishes it off nicely. So you're kind of making knots as you go along. This isn't the best example. It looks better on these, so it just finishes off nicely and covers up the metal. Okay, so this is where we're at in the land of finishing up this dress. Everything is technically finished with this. The skirt is finished, has its hook and eye on the back, so that's fine there. The hook and eyes are along the back of the bodice. It's just not done up because I don't have another person here. I kind of have I didn't put the garments on in the right order, so the bust bodice is actually on last because I wasn't thinking, thus the white ties and everything. These will be tucked in. The last thing that needs to happen is I need to attach hook and eyes to the bottom of this and then to the waistband at the front. So on the original waistband from the pattern of this skirt, there are 3 in the front, 1 that's center, and then 2 at either side, and then there are a few in the back. But what I'm going to do so this holds up all the way around is I'm going to put hook and eyes at either side seam, keep the 3 in the front, and then we'll do 2 in the back, 1 at each back side closure. So and looking at this now, I'm actually not unhappy without having the gold drape. I wish I did have it just to see what it would have looked like, but this itself is just fine. I'm not unhappy with this. So yeah, we are good to go. The next time this will be seen, hopefully it'll be a done thing where it can be worn out in public and not be rigged up to look like it's properly done.
The dress is now complete and ready to be photographed on the site that I have chosen across from my campus. This has been one doozy of a ride, and I am so thankful to have it come to an end. But not really, because now I get to wait for all the data to come in and sort through that mess. To view the first video of this process, click on the iCard in the top right corner. To view any other videos that I've made, check out the channel. Please subscribe and like, and do leave comments below to help me with my data collection for my dissertation. More videos on another dress that has been made for this dissertation to be compared with will be out shortly. Thank you all and have a wonderful time sewing.
Das gibt's nur einmal, das kommt nicht wieder. Das ist vielleicht nur Träumerei. Das kann das Leben nur einmal geben. Vielleicht ist morgen schon vorbei. Das kann das Leben nur einmal geben. Denn jeder Frühling hat nur